As he labors to win over black voters whose support is vital to his Democratic presidential bid, Pete Buttigieg found a receptive host on Sunday in a civil rights activist who has sought to continue the Reverend Martin Luther King Jr.'s push for a racially diverse national campaign against poverty. After attending services at the Reverend William Barber's Greenleaf Christian Church, Buttigieg stayed for a discussion with the Poor People's Campaign, which was begun by King shortly before he was assassinated in 1968. Barber, who is a pastor and a former North Carolina NAACP president, revived the movement to unite a new generation of Americans of all races to combat economic inequality. Here to talk more about this is Onyx News contributor Dr. E. Bernard Jordan. Dr. Jordan, what is your take on this big conversation and what's happening here?
Well, I am glad that Buttigieg has decided to go to a person like Rev Barber to get his thumb on the pulse of America. When we begin to look at the last days of Dr. Martin Luther King, he began to take on the Poor People Campaign. I guess what began to be realized is that, poverty really doesn't have a color line, or does it? So we are now looking at poverty in America. We begin to see he goes down to Dr. William Barber, and he begins to want to discuss what is the situation going on among poverty in America. But he finds himself among the black community. Or maybe we are starting to see that maybe poverty does have color. So we begin to see that he is meeting with Rev Barber down at Greenleaf Church, and we begin to see that he stays to hear the discussion. And one of the things that he begins to quote here is that the Poor People's Campaign is about uniting people who have been divided against their interests. And I believe the same could be said of America as a whole. And that's true for any marginalized group, from the LGBTQ community to poor people to those who have suffered racial discrimination. And so that was a quote by the Democratic candidate.
We have been in the thick of having conversations about this whole political arena right now, everything that's happening in the news media, every vote that everyone's trying to get and that they're trying to secure. It's very interesting how this is all playing out. It's also said that during this service that Buttigieg actually brought his own Bible to this particular conversation.
Yes. And, when you begin to look at this man and his conversation, he is gay, which is very interesting, and look like he has all the strikes against him. But now we are beginning to look at a different kind of America, that he kind of identifies with those that are in the margins. What happens in America as the margin starts to become the majority, or the margin becomes the larger voice? So here's an opportunity that they've got to discuss, even about the LGBTQ community, when he began to even discuss with Rev Barber. And Rev Barber kind of dispelled the myth that, there's not a situation in the black community around this as it has been.
Dr. Jordan, I hate to cut you off. We're out of time here. It's always an awesome conversation with you. Thank you for great reporting.
Thank you, Michi.